Good morning, everybody. We're speaking this morning to the MD, John Black of Marlobox, which incorporates drive shaft parts in Europe, which includes also in SA and Europe, and it also includes Poland, Ukraine, the UK, and Spain. Have I got that right, John?
Yeah, 100%, as well as our South African operations, yeah.
Yeah, as well as your South African operations. And I see you've also got the 3 branches in South Africa. Is that still correct?
No, we've got 4 Autobax branches, and we have 5 drive shaft parts branches in South Africa. Then we have the ones that you've just mentioned: Poland, Ukraine, Spain, and the UK. Poland being the biggest operation in Europe for us.
John, like I just said to you, this conversation this morning is, we want to respect people's time, so we're going to keep it to the point. And today is just to inspire and give some practical advice for people that might be going through similar situations or need a little bit of Zuma or boost this morning to get their businesses going.
Sure.
So John, I'm just going to, one of our tasks in our business, we focus a lot on local companies, local services. It's not the sexiest industry to promote always. And I don't think the normal people out there, really know any of where these parts fit in and what this company does, because it's not really something we ever see. And it's more specialized type of product that goes on to, automotive parts all around the country and in the world. So if you don't mind, give us a layman's term of how to make your business a bit sexier.
Well, just to confirm the products that we actually do, in the Autobax stable, we've got our main line is timing belts, anything to do with the timing on the engine. So the timing belt, the tensioners, the idlers, etc., as well as timing chains and so on. We've been the sole importer of the Gates range of products for the last 40 odd years. Autobax actually celebrated their 50th anniversary last year, so 69 to 2019, which was a milestone for us. And then, so anything related to that, and we also do a range of oil pumps, Welsh plugs, and a host of other bearings and seals, etc., that are allied to the automotive industry. And then on the drive shaft part side, anything related to the driveline of the actual vehicle. So your prop shaft, your CV joints, your universal joints, etc. And we also have quite a nice range of the agricultural side of things, which is on the PTO shafts that are used for grass cutters and bush cutters and that sort of stuff. We launched our own brand last year called APG, which is stands for Agri Parts Global, and that's been a great success for us and an extension of our range. So that kind of, in a nutshell, is what we do. And we basically wholesale to other distributors, etc., around the country, as well as obviously internationally in the European market, where Poland is our main focus and our main base. We acquired the drive shaft parts business at the beginning of 2019. So they've been with us for just over a year now, and it's been a great acquisition for us, and they've become part of the team very quickly. And so yeah, we've had some success, and we've also got a lot of history, and we also represent a lot of worldwide international brands, in both of those businesses, which I look after.
And John, just a little bit, how many people are in the company as a whole? But also, what's your offset? Even if it's just a rough estimate, how many people that you sell your product to, how many people is that in total do you think that your product ultimately has an effect on?
Well, from a staff complement point of view, there are 144 people in the combined businesses of drive shaft parts as well as Autobax. And the effect of that is massive, because we sell to all the major retailers and specialized engine companies around South Africa, as well as into the European market. So the reach for that is massive, because every time, let's just take a simple timing belt, if a timing belt needs to get changed on your vehicle, it's affecting the people that use that vehicle and so on. And the consequential damages, if you put an inferior product in there, is catastrophic, where you've got engine failure and you've got massive repair bill if you don't use the correct the correct spec. And also, the gate stuff is all OE quality, and OE they supply directly to the OE, and we look after the aftermarket for them.
So it's a huge impact, and your business has a very far reach, and that's very important, in South Africa, because we have to have a mindset change of how do we fight back, how do we create market share for ourselves, how do we create growth if there's growth opportunities, and very importantly, in my view, how do you create profit for purpose in the future as a sustainable business? And I wanted to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Sure. The other part, just to come in there very quickly, sorry that I omitted to mention, supply all of the car plants in South Africa. Okay. So traditional, what it's called, the OES market, original equipment spares, or the old P&A as parts and accessories. So all the vehicle manufacturers in South Africa, we supply to all of them, and we've also had quite a number of awards over the years. I think you've seen that in our boardroom when you've come to visit us. Yeah. All the awards that we've had as Supplier of the Year, etc. So that was a part that I omitted to mention earlier on. But you wanted to ask some questions, so go ahead.
John, I wanted to know, what have you done in the last 5 weeks? I'm sure you probably, like many of us, went through a lot of emotions with all of this. But what have you done in the last 5 weeks to get ready for business that's coming? And internally, how have you kept everybody motivated and focused on what the fight back is about to mean to us in the future?
Sure, Albert. The main thing that we've done is playing out the what if scenarios, because at the moment it's like, how long is a piece of string? Yeah. We were told we were going to go on lockdown. It was going to be a couple of weeks. Then that was extended. So we're playing with the unknown at the moment, and it's unknown for all of us. It's the very first time any of the businesses have gone through all of this. So the main sort of focus areas at this stage have been cash flow, what the implications are of the cash flow situations. But we've got wonderful suppliers, and some of the, they've come to the party with deferred payments and so on. The landlords have stepped in and given us a discounted rental, to basically going into survival mode at the end of the day. So that's kind of what we've been doing. The team, I surround myself with good people, and the team has been positive, and we've stayed positive throughout this whole lockdown period. It's been tough on individuals, and it's all good and well. We're sitting in homes where we've got a bit of space, etc. And when you think of some of our people that are limited to 5 and 6 people in a one-room dwelling, very, very difficult for them to maintain the lockdown and stay indoors. So it's been, it's just been a case of encouraging them, and we've sent out a lot of podcasts, we've sent out SMSs on a daily basis, we've sent out voice notes on the podcasts, etc. Lots of emails. So we've kept everybody in the loop and everybody up to speed as to where we are and what's happening within the group. So it's probably been the busiest 5 and 6 weeks that we've had, but with no sales whatsoever, but literally sort of playing out the what if scenarios and trying to plan 3 months in advance and saying, how quickly is this situation going to come back? Because none of it's still the unknown. Car plants are still all closed. And so we've got, I think the sales stat was, the new car sales for the month of April was down 98.4%. I think I saw, 98.4% down. So that's a massive, massive impact for the economy and for the country as a whole.
I was, even in the beginning, as an entrepreneur myself, survival. I didn't like that initially when I thought about it a little bit further. And the reason I'm completely that survival is, it can be seen as negative or positive, but the reason I see it as extremely positive is that if you don't survive this, there's no opportunity to fight back in the future. And
absolutely,
that's why it's so important, that word is survival is not in a negative way. It is to make sure that we are ready for the fight back when the time comes.
Absolutely. The business has got to be in good shape. And if we don't make the sacrifices now and do the necessary to right size the business and take the hard decisions, we won't have a business to go back to, and then there will be no opportunity going forward. So, 100% correct. We've had to take some hard decisions, and we're still in that process of doing that. You know, it's still early days.
Yeah.
The way is yet to come.
Yeah. And so the status of your supply chain at the moment, locally and internationally, what has this been affected you, and how so, negatively or positively?
Well, from a point of view, from a supply chain point of view, we really haven't been affected because we're an essential services provider.
Okay.
We've managed our containers to come in, so that's all come in, and we've got enough stock and so on. But the stock levels obviously have gone sort of through the roof. We've tried to slow them down, but when you've got long lead times from overseas suppliers, you know, you place these orders 5, 6, 7 months in advance. You can't stop the flow of product coming through. So it hasn't really been affected, but obviously stock is now increased, and we're in a fantastic position with a very strong stock holding to be able to service the market effectively going forward. So, and I think a lot of companies may have cut that short, but you know, we look down the road. We look at growing the business over 3, 4, 5 years. We're not looking for today. We're looking long term. So, from a supply chain point of view, we've been fine. Thanks.
John, now local manufacturing, it's a bit of a buzzword, and at the same time, I feel local manufacturing can't just be supported on an emotional basis. There has to be reason for it, and local manufacturing companies must be able to extract their value, and that value has to ultimately benefit you, the value chain, and the people that it represents. What is the group's position on local manufacturing in the future?
You know, we fully support anybody that's on a local front, and you know, if they're in a position and they are competitive, because all of us are playing on the world stage now. We're not isolated. It's the world is a small place, and so, you know, all it is giving us a competitive edge, and being able to sell those products in the local market. So, and it's also very important as to where they decide they're going to be selling their product through. So they need to decide: are they going to retail? Are they going to wholesale? Are they a manufacturer? What is their position regarding, you know, where they see themselves? And then we can align ourselves to that or distance ourselves. But we fully support local. I think we've had a deindustrialization of sort of, certainly from an engineering point of view. There's been a lot of brain drain. There hasn't been a feeding system of all the apprenticeships that we used to see years ago, of people coming through the ranks, so to speak, and that's a problem for us as a country. But so that's why wherever we can support local, we do.
That's very encouraging, and I you know, working with local manufacturers, we understand that we have to show our value to anybody that we deal with. So I appreciate that open mind is at least there. Now we believe there's opportunity that's going to come into the world. I believe Africa, and South Africa for that matter, if we do this right over the next 6 months, we'll be able to have a good position globally, and in a position to perhaps pick up some manufacturing that the world needs. I think we've got all the criteria and infrastructure and labor and etc. in South Africa to do so. Do you see opportunity growth locally, internationally? And what I mean by growth locally, and I completely understand we're going into a economic environment what might not serve the growth purpose, but I also see that what might happen is some market share being taken from competitors, and that's an opportunity of growth. So within that, do you see opportunity locally or internationally for yourself and the business?
Yes, certainly we do. On the local market, you know, we've always prided ourselves in the amount of stock that we keep. We make sure that we've got enough stock holding. It's always a fine balance. You've got exchange rates to look at, you've got lead times to look at from international waters. But we've always prided ourselves in that, and I think that's a very strong point of our group philosophy of the stock holding that we carry. So yes, on the local front, I think most definitely. And on the international markets, obviously we've positioned ourselves now with the acquisition of Driveshaft Parts, and Poland is the epicenter of that operation. We're looking at purchasing, and we're busy with the negotiations now of purchasing quite a large building of about 4,500 square meters in just outside of Warsaw, and that'll be the sort of epicenter of our operations that are, and the rest of Europe will be supported through the Poland operation. And our Ukraine operation gets fed from there, so does Spain, so does the UK. So it's a plus for us. We've extended the range of products that they supply to customers. So we've enhanced their product range by some of the stuff that Autobacs traditionally have done. Take a simple thing of wheel bearing kits where they've never had that before. We've now introduced that into the market. We've also introduced the APG brand, like I said to you earlier, which is the Agri Parts Global on the PTO shafts for agricultural business. We've also started supplying to a couple of the OEMs over there. So our plan is we actually setting up a workshop, where those PTO shafts will be manufactured by ourselves, a complete process from the beginning right the way through to spray painting, balancing, and the stamp will be made in Poland, because that's what the local guys want. And so with that, we've already started supplying some of the OEMs, the guys that do the bush cutters, grass cutters, etc. So we've had great success with the team over there.
And does it make you very proud to know that you guys have this type of capacity and operations as a human moment between us?
Absolutely. It's I love going to Poland. It's a fantastic place. The people are honest. They're hardworking people. They're very hospitable. We believe work hard, play hard, and that's what we do. So they get rewarded for their efforts, and we certainly see it as expanding our footprint on the world market. We're just busy with the entire group structure as to how it's going to look. That's not finalized yet, but we certainly, from a brand architecture point of view, we've put things in the right blocks. I think I shared that screen with you on one of the visits, and that's kind of there. We've neatened it all up. The actual branding, the actual naming of the companies, etc., just to get a crisp, clean look, so that people are not confused when they go onto our site to look at what we actually do and what we can offer our customer base, and how we can partner with them going forward. Because we see it as business partners. We don't see it as us as a supplier and them as a customer. It's a symbiotic relationship that we both get. We can both add value to.
And of course, not mitigating any of the challenges to set up operations on an international or global footprint. But just a quick question: how does the international community receive a South African business coming in to create value in their countries?
I think the hard yards have been done in the early days by the previous owners of Driveshaft Parts. They were pioneers in doing that. So we well accepted, and it's run by Polish people. We don't have any expats working there, but it's part of our group, and they certainly, we've got quite a big offering under the Invicta banner that we can actually offer our customer base. So we continue to do that, and they see us in a positive light. South Africans are born with a bit of chutzpah in them, and we're seen as hardworking and to sort of make a plan. The old story of boer maak 'n plan.
Oh, yeah.
So it's there have been challenges, obviously, from a language point of view, but the international language of business is English. So we're very fortunate in that. And yeah, we've gone along very nicely, and they've bedded in very quickly to the way we work and the way we conduct ourselves in business, because integrity is everything.
Yeah. No, and I'm glad. I think a lot of people would want to listen or hear that, John. So obviously, for this long to be in business, to have this type of reach, to have this type of foundation, you have to have a good value proposition. Do you mind explaining what is yours?
Well, basically, our stock holding, as I said, is obviously one of the big parts of that. We represent international brands. We've got the likes of Gates, as I said, which is an anchor for us in the Autobax business. But we also represent companies like MRK, NSK, NTN, Timken on the bearing side of things. And we also have quite a big range of our own house brand, where we import and we brand it as our own house brand, etc., which we sell, which has got a fantastic name in the market. Our STC range, for instance, and our Europart range that we have. So that's quite good. And we also have some new brands that we're bringing in on the drive shaft part side of it. As a standalone brand, it's going to be we're busy with that process now, and not quite finalized. So I can't tell you the branding just yet. It's top secret, but that'll be coming out soon. And yeah, it's basically, we've always had this vision of one team, one vision, one goal, and everybody strives to that. And as a team, we go forward, and that's what makes it successful.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, John. And then, listen, you've got a sales environment. You're obviously a sales environment too. You've got a front line. We also need to sell our products regardless of how long we've been in business.
Sure.
I think the old saying of you're only as good as your last delivery, I think is very true in business today.
Yeah.
The sales environment going forward, taking virtual sales, management of sales, technology and marketing into consideration. Do you plan on taking advantage of the new developments, or have you already?
Well, because we're kind of in the wholesale sector, we don't do any direct sales to the man on the street. So, to have a website where all and sundry can go on to, it's something to add value, for someone to be able to see what they're actually looking for. But then they need to go to our customers to get serviced by them. So yes, we're always looking at ways of improving what we do. Our computer system, we've just allocated last week 2.5 million rand to a new computer system. So we're still investing in our infrastructure of what we're doing, etc. That's on the drive shaft part side of the business. So no, we don't do direct sales. So internet selling is not really where we sit. But from an awareness point of view, it's certainly something that we'd be looking at to let customers have a look and see, what they actually need. But we don't sell directly to them. We directly on a business to business basis.
And tell me the role there, because I believe it's, selling your partners, selling is going to change for them a lot. The environment, the landscape, and etc. So do you think there's a role to play as to encourage that your brand and the products are sold the right way? It offers the right value proposition. The benefits of the product. Do you think it's still important, even if you've been that long in business, to still sell your product, or do you just assume the offtake will naturally be there?
No, we definitely don't assume anything like that. If it was that easy, everyone would be doing it. Our job is to educate and to assist our customers on our product and keep reinventing yourself. Otherwise, if you're not growing, you're dying. So that's what we're looking at doing on a constant basis, where we keep on. With the automotive market, it's quite unique in that the product keeps changing. When I say keeps changing, every time a new model comes out, there's a lot of R&D work that's done, particularly by our Gates suppliers overseas, where they take 8-9 months to develop a tensioner, an idler, a belt, etc., for the OEMs. And so that a lot of that work goes into it. There's the new technology coming along all the time, new materials that are coming through. So those you keep on introducing and expanding what you actually sell on, and keep adding the value. We have specialized toolkits that are used to fit these things. It's not as simple as it seems. And it is a technical sell. So we've got to upskill our customer base, and they will then obviously sell that onto their customer over their counters.
Yeah, because sell in is just as important as sell out, and I think more now than ever we have a responsibility on both sides, and especially if you're the ownership of that product and what it represents. So I'm really excited for that space to develop a little bit further. Now,
Sure.
as a company, you could currently influence the market. You've got, as a leader in the market, you're going to have a lot of eyes on you. You can encourage a lot of people, and people can get inspired by what you guys do and so forth. So what do you see your influence going forward as an owner, a leader, and as a business and all the staff that represents that company? How do you see influence going forward?
I think it's credibility. It's taking. I don't want to use the word advantage, but using. We're in the people business. The products come secondary. It's about relationships and so on. So building of those solid foundation relationships and the trust factor that we do what we tell them we're doing. Also offering a bigger basket of parts. We've this month and a bit that we've been down, we've done quite a bit of research on other products that our customers can actually, that they do offer us, that we've possibly not looked at in the South African market and the European market. So we've done a bit of work on that, where we're looking at saying, well, here's the full offering of what these suppliers can offer us. What markets are there that are untapped for us? That we maybe haven't gone into because we thin on the ground. We don't as I said, we are 144 people in total. That's from top to bottom in the Marlobox organization, which is the drive shaft parts and Autobax. Yeah. So expanding the product offering that we've got with our existing customers, and also seeing if there are possibilities for other customers to come on board. Without upsetting the apple cart of our existing customer base. Yeah. So that's they've got to be the right partners for us going forward, and in the right space. So yes, that's kind of what we're looking at moving forward.
John, and two more points. Just one, you said so beautifully how you kept in contact with your staff, how you guys have through all of this, and I'm past the point where I say, every day I woke up with the biggest of encouragement. I had bad days, I had bad moments.
Sure.
How did you communicate, or how did you stay in touch with your customers? Was that something that you guys sort of kept in the background to make sure that you keep in touch?
Sure. We made sure that we just kept on. We sent out a little a message to them on for Easter, for the public holiday that we've just had. We send out those little flyers to the different customers, just to say, hey, we're still here, we're still in touch. Obviously, some of the bigger customers we've been chatting on a sort of probably a weekly basis, finding out what are they doing, what are their challenges, how can we share, how can we stand together as a community, as a business community. And it goes deeper than that. It becomes, you have personal relationships with these other leaders that are in the industry, and where you can actually pick up the phone and be able to speak to the CEO and just swap some ideas. And this is what we've done, this is how you guys going, is it, how can we assist you, how can we partner with you going forward. So there's been a lot of that, and obviously at staff level, we've kept them informed as to where we are and what's happening.
I think it's going to be very valuable, and I think we are still very much a relationship type of nation and world. And I completely agree with you. It starts there first. Now, with that in mind, I'm personally, John, on a personal note, I, really look up to you as a leader. And I have, since I've met you, have always been very fond, and any opportunity that I get to pick your brain, I love that. So, to being an entrepreneur in the best of times is challenging. And I think it always looks like fun. It always looks lovely. But now more than ever, people are realizing it's not so easy to be an entrepreneur. And in times like this is where it really, really shines. The difficulty and the challenges of it comes really through. Now, as a business leader at the moment, how have you managed this transition? And I know we touched on that a little bit earlier, but how has the transition, you personally going through all the motions, but still maintaining that leadership role for so many people that look towards that? How has that personally been for you?
Yeah, no, we've also had a few tough days and tough moments, but you've got to look at the bigger picture. You've got to look at people that are in worse off situations than you are, and basically from the time we got all the staff together and told them that we're going on lockdown, this is what you need to do, etc. One of the first things that I said to them was be kind to each other. Just stretch out the hand of help where you can and where there's a possibility. It doesn't have to be a material thing. Sometimes just a little WhatsApp or a little upliftment, hey, thinking of you today, it makes the world of difference, And, the other thing that we've done is a lot of the senior management have taken big cuts in salaries, etc. And where that money is going to get spent, we've actually done that to look after our own people, to look after our own family. We like to term them as our family. So we're in the process of doing food parcels and vouchers for our staff that are where we've called short time, where we don't have that. So instead of just sending it out to anybody and all and sundry, we've kept it in-house, and we proudly are in a position where we're going to be distributing these vouchers and food parcels and whatever to our own staff that are there, that are battling, and so that's kind of what we've done. But you've got to one of the things you've got to do is lead by example, and you've got to take the hard decisions. But you've got to be consistent. The consistency, people are looking to you. They're floundering. They're looking for strong leadership, and if you've got to cut your overheads by 20%, 25%. The only way you can justify it to yourself is that you're looking after 80% or 85% or 75% of your workforce that are still going to be there when you go through this whole transition. So you basically, let's just say you cut 20% of your overhead, you're looking after 80% of the people in the business, that ensuring that they've got a job and they've got a business to come back to. If the business folds, then no one's got anything to look forward to. There's no growth. There's no value add. There's no,
to come back. Yeah,
you're going to come back to nothing. So that old saying of half a loaf of bread is better than none comes to mind. But so that's kind of been where we've gone through, and we've stayed consistent. And even if I'm having a lousy day, you've got to step up to the plate. I think there was a guy who wrote a book, From Backyard to Brand Leader, called Mervyn Nyland. He makes a hand cleaning product that he started off in his garage. And one of his sayings was that you've got to fake it until you make it. And it's not a case of being fake, but it's a case of positiveness out there, so that your people that report to you are feeding off of you, and that message is going through to the rest of your staff in the same vein as I've delivered it to my management team. So that's vitally important, to make the sacrifices and to make sure that they come back to a sound business that has got a basis to carry on with, that's got a customer base, that's got product, that we've done all the right things. So yeah, it's uncharted waters. So it's a case of feeling your way as you're going. But I've always said my brain is not my biggest gift. My gut is. Not the size, but the gut feel on what you and that's my biggest pain is do what's right, and do what's right even when people aren't looking. That's critical.
John, thank you very much. I can probably sit and chat with you the whole day. But I also want to, keep it to a point where we can get some encouragement. And I hope that this sparks a little bit more debate or conversation with us in the future, because as we go along, things are going to develop and change and we adapt to it. But I really am exceptionally grateful. And just on a personal note, we thank all the business owners at the moment that's got the courage to continue, got the courage to do the fight back, because that's exactly where we are. I am completely aware of what's going on. We understand some of the realities. We have compassionate towards that. But at the same time, we have to focus forward to give any of what's going on in the background a chance in the future anyway.
No, absolutely. It's rolling with the punches as they come. You get these messages that are coming out, and there's so much false information out there now. You've got to be very careful as to what you're listening to, who you're trusting, and I think that's where strong leadership in our entire group needs to stand tall, and people are looking to us. They're looking at sort of the captains of industry, for want of a better word, as to where we're going forward, what are we doing. So I think that's vitally important, as well as making the right calls. And we believe that we've made all the right calls, and from here on it's onwards and upwards.
Well, John, we wish you and your family of workers and personal family at home as well, we wish you guys all the best in the fight back, and encourage you to continue in the positive manner and innovative manner in which you do.
Thank you so much. Lovely chatting to you, and stay safe, and remember to sanitize and all those good things. But look forward to partnering with you going forward on one of the other projects that we did speak about. So we're looking forward to that as an expansion of our range as well.
Thank you very much, John. Yeah, I wanted to this morning speak about you and your business, and also for the opportunities that you've given people that we work with. We honor you, John, and thank you very much.